Although the spot removal tool was initially designed to remove spots that appear on your image as a result of having dust on your sensor, it can also be used to make basic corrections such as removing a blemish or other distracting items in your image. So let's select this portrait image and then use the keyboard shortcut Command-R on Mac or Control-R on Windows in order to open that in Camera Raw. Now, as long as the spots that we're going to look at are small, they'll be easy to remove in Camera Raw. In order to select the spot removal brush, we can either select it from the tools or we can tap the B key. You'll notice that there are two types of spot removal. You can either use the heal or the clone. When you choose clone, Camera Raw will make an exact duplicate of one area and put it in another area. If you select heal, then instead of making an exact duplicate, Camera Raw will try to blend in the edges of the image so that it's not noticeable that you've actually made changes to the image. We're going to leave it on heal for right now, and you'll notice that when I position my cursor inside the image area, I have a very large brush right now. But before I start decreasing the size of the brush, watch what happens when I zoom in. As I zoom in, do you notice that the brush stays the same, which is a great feature because that way, if I use my spacebar and I scoot over, you can see that the brush is much smaller now relative to the zoom percentage. So if I had made a really small brush before I zoomed in, it would probably end up being too small. This is still a little too big though, so I will use the left bracket in order to decrease the brush size. Now I'll position my brush right on top of the blemish that I want to get rid of, and then I'll simply click, and Camera Raw will automatically set a sample point to grab information from, and then it will heal over the area that I originally clicked on. So if I want to heal this area right here, again, I'll get a little bit smaller of a brush using the left bracket and just click. Now I'll click again here, and so far Camera Raw has done a very good job selecting the area from which to heal or clone. Sometimes Camera Raw won't always know exactly where to grab the source information from, so you should know that if you position your cursor inside the green circle and then click and drag, you can tell Camera Raw where to pick the information from. You can also resize the spot after the fact by clicking and dragging on the edge of the spot to make it larger or make it smaller. And we can always go and click on any of the other spots that we've already drawn if we need to make a change to that area. All right, let's hold down the space bar and scoot over to the other side. We'll go ahead and remove this blemish as well. Again, here might be a good opportunity for me to select a source that's a little bit closer. I'll go ahead and move that. And then we can remove this blemish and this blemish. Now, not all of these spots are actually blemishes. Some of them were moles. So you'll also notice that we have the ability to change the opacity. So for example, if I wanted to just lessen this, if I wanted to make this a little bit less of a distracting element, but keep it there, I'll go ahead and click. You'll notice that Camera Raw will get rid of it 100% by default, but then I can change the opacity down and you can start to see that little mole or freckle showing through. So depending on the image and depending on the work that you're doing, that might be a good option. All right, let's go ahead and use the space bar and scroll up a little bit. She has just the slightest of a little line right here. I also want to show you that you can click and drag with the spot healing brush. So your brush doesn't always have to be a circular spot. You can go ahead and drag over an area. And then just like with the spot, you can go ahead and move the source area, reposition it to a different area if you need to. But I can tell that the spot here is still visible, and that's because my opacity is set down. Let's go ahead and move that up. Tap the V key in order to hide the interface. Use the spacebar just to move up a little bit more. And then we can tap the P key to show a before and after using the preview. We can tap the V key again to bring back the interface. So the next time you have some dust on your sensor that is creating some spots, or you have simple blemishes that you want to get rid of or distracting elements in your image, give the spot removal tool a try. I think you'll find that you can avoid spending the time fixing small problems like this in Photoshop and just fix them right here in Camera Raw.